This is the plaintiff, Brian Waring. He says the defendant got into an accident, which was his fault, and the car he hit careened into his fence, wrecking it. The defendant's insurance had lapsed. He's owed $1,326 for the damages the defendant caused. The louse refuses to pay, and he's here suing in the good name of justice. This is the defendant, Keyshawn Jameek Haywood. He says he was cut off by another car, then swerved and tapped a car driven by a woman, and she hit into the plaintiff's fence. The woman traveled 100 feet from where the fender bender took place. The force of the impact didn't make her hit the fence, and he has no responsibility to fix it. He's accused of getting fenced in.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant got into an accident and the car he hit careened into a fence. But the defendant says the accident wasn't his fault. It's the case of please fence me in.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
EquipServe LLC, represented here by Brian Waring.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are the owner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You are suing, pronounce the first name, Kaysan?
Kaysan.
Kaysan Jameek Haywood.
Haywood, yes.
For $1,326, a cost that you have had to pay to repair a fence that was damaged when an accident occurred that you say is his fault. Tell me what happened. Were you out there when it actually happened?
I was not.
Okay.
No. One of my manager was there.
Okay, so hold on. Let's hear from you. What happened?
So what happened was I was driving down Mapleton Parkway, which is the street I live on. There's a big plaza.
How many lanes is this?
There's a 4-lane road with a breakdown lane in the middle.
Okay, so 2 lanes each way?
2 lanes each way, yes, and 1 in the middle.
Go ahead.
Basically, I was driving down, and I was in the faster lane, not the slower lane, closer to the sidewalk. There was a lot of traffic. It was about maybe 6 in the afternoon. And basically, there were cars making space for another car to come in and to get into traffic. But this car skipped that lane, came into my lane, which I was unprepared for. I swerved to avoid the accident, and there was an SUV sitting there in the breakdown/suicide lane. Mm-hmm. I hit her, and she proceeded to go to the left.
Why didn't you just brake?
I didn't have time to brake. I didn't have time. If I would have just stayed in my lane, I would have wound up hitting this car. And I probably would have been in this seat suing someone else.
Yeah,
So
as
I
opposed to
learned
what actually happened. See, you got the ticket, right?
Yes.
Improper lane change, because you changed lanes without seeing if it was safe to do so. And you feel that's unfair because of, according to you, a car came into your lane. Now, are there any witnesses to that?
There were plenty of witnesses.
Any of them who were coming forward?
No.
Okay, let me tell you something. I've been doing this a very long time. And I am sure that there are phantom cars cutting people off a lot, just not the number of times that I hear it in court over the course of the last 25 years.
Okay, so if the car that got hit careens into the fence, is the car that goes into the fence, is that driver responsible?
No, it's the guy who drove car 1 who caused the accident.
Technically, it is the damage was done by the car that careened into the fence.
It may be legally, but the first car had the fault.
Okay, I mean, look, I'm arguing nothing because you're right, going inside the courtroom.
You end up hitting her with such impact that her car ends up, is she going the same direction as you?
Yes.
Right, and then her car ends up skidding and going how far, would you say?
I would say maybe 50 to 75 feet.
Okay, and that lands on your property.
Correct.
And we get to you. So what happened? What was the damage to your property?
We have a fence all the way around the property, and in the front, there's a section of the fence that it
Do you have
it took
pictures?
down. I do.
May I see them? Okay. So that's the chain link fence with the, what do you call that thing on the top that hurts?
Barbed wire?
Barbed wire. Yeah, that was a big stretch of gate there. So you are suing for $1,233 it cost you to repair the fence, and $93 in overtime you had to pay 2 employees to put something up. What did you have them put up? The same old fence that was broken?
They just propped up the fence.
Propped it up so that
Yep.
you'd have some
Some sort
okay.
of security for the night until I could get the fence
And your
company there the next
defense to
morning.
this is? Not my fault there was a phantom car, and it shouldn't cost that much because it's just a chain link fence.
Absolutely not. I feel like I caused an accident. I feel like I am partially to blame. I actually felt...
Did you have insurance?
Yes.
What kind of insurance?
Liability. I owned that car, so I didn't have to have full coverage.
But it's a good idea to have full coverage because
It
then,
is.
then you don't have to worry about stuff like this.
And it's also expensive. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
it is. It is. And not legally required, but what happened to your car?
It was totaled.
What happened to the lady's car?
To be honest, I don't remember
virtually
her car
insist upon it
really
when you're
be
under
too
oath.
damaged.
You don't recall her car being that damaged? She knocked over a fence and you hit her from behind. It had to have been pretty damaged. Did anybody get hurt?
My son had to go through surgery. I was
What
hurt.
happened to him?
He's a thumb sucker. So while we was in an accident,
he had his thumb in his mouth?
he had his thumb in his mouth.
How old is your son?
He just turned 5 on Wednesday. So he lacerated his eye here and also here in the corner because he goes like this. He had to get a stent put in his tear duct so it wouldn't close permanently. Just maybe some bruises on the face and a lot of...
Was he in a car seat?
Yes, he was. And it's ridiculous how hurt he was because people were looking at me like, was he in a car seat? Like, why is he so
The cop
messed
says
up?
your car seat wasn't in there, right?
Well, when he was talking to me, he never told me that.
I mean, I just noted that he had said that, but all right. Look, that's why they call it an accident. I don't think you intended for this to happen, but yeah, this is part and parcel of the damage that occurred when you change lanes without making sure that you are able to change lanes, especially into the suicide lane. You know, if there was even the most remote evidence whatsoever of another car getting in your way, I can understand what you're saying. It still wouldn't be his fault. It would be up to you to sue that other person who caused you to do it. But in any event, I am finding against you in the full amount that the plaintiff is asking for, $1,326. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Okay, just to reinforce this, if you are driving along and somebody hits you and then you hit another car or a fence or whatever, you're not responsible. You have to prove negligence in order to be responsible, and there's no negligence.